Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. So today I would like to introduce to you a software that could be useful to assist us when we are going to make any decision. So let's say if you have problem in hands that requires you to make business or operational decision, the most important thing you need to do is to have sufficient data and results so that you can make an informed decision. Be it if the problem is about job shop scheduling, removing bottleneck in a production line, optimizing warehouse operation, and so on. So if you are going to experiment with real environment, it can be too risky, too costly, or it may not be feasible at all. So we will try to simulate the scenario by using a software. So today I am going to introduce to you one very powerful simulation software that is Anylogic. So by using Anylogic, we can communicate our ideas through dynamic animation and at the same time collect the statistical data. By using this way, we don't need to interrupt the actual operation in order to experiment with the situation that we are going to forecast. Okay, Anylogic is a multi-method simulation modeling tool developed by the Anylogic company. It supports agent-based, discrete event, and system dynamic simulation methodologies. Furthermore, Anylogic is a cross-platform simulation software that works on Windows, Macintosh, and Linux. Anylogic is typically used to simulate markets and competition, healthcare, manufacturing, supply chain, logistics, retail, business processes, social and ecosystem dynamics, defense, project and asset management, pedestrian dynamics and road traffic, IT, aerospace, and many others. So the tool was named Anylogic mainly because it supported all three well-known modeling approaches, which is the first one, system dynamics. The second one is discrete event simulation. And the third one is agent-based modeling. Besides, the software also is capable to accommodate any combination of the three approaches within a single model. So the first version of Anylogic was Anylogic 4, and it has been expanded throughout the years. Anylogic has becoming the preferred tool mainly because it is freely available, especially for beginners. So we don't need to put our financial commitment, especially during the early stage of adoption. What you have right now in your computer is Anylogic Personal Learning Edition, or PLE, that is dedicated for students. It has the full functional capacity of the software. The only limitation is on the scale of the model you can develop. So as you can see here, this is the getting started interface of the software where you have several menus. The first one is the create a model, where we will be using the menu later. The second one is the open example. So apart from those two main menu, you also have a series of tutorials where you can learn on how to develop a model from scratch. Apart from that, you can always refer to educational videos available online on YouTube channels. Okay, let's see one of the examples available in the standard software. We can see that there are 103 examples available, and they are categorized into several categories. The first one is manufacturing with 11 examples, supply chain and logistics with 13 examples, healthcare, business processes, airport, station and malls, railways, defense and securities, oil and gas, market and competition, project and asset management, social and eco-dynamics, road traffics, games and funds, and others. So let's see one of the example from supply chain and logistics. Okay, let's take one of the example entitled distribution center. The main approach used for this distribution center is discrete event. However, they also have the models for agents for each of the trucks. Okay, we can see the example is a complete model with a layout of a distribution center. And based on the graphical illustration, there are several menus that have been developed. The first one is the 3D view, 2D view, statistics, orders, and logic. And we can see that for the distribution center, there are several agents developed in order to represent the functionality in this distribution center. The first one is dock. The second agent is forklift, loading truck, main agent, order, pallet, resource handler, truck, and truck type and unloading truck. And we can see that these are the warehouse area with incoming and outgoing areas. So let's try to run the example to see what will happen. So we can run the example by clicking the run button. Okay, now we have opened the simulation page of the distribution center, and we can see on the left hand side is the description. So this is a model of a distribution center operation. The main processes are unloading, where we have trucks to deliver pallets to an available unloading dock. The second operation is assembly. So the order is assembled from pallet which can be of same or different type. And the third one is the loading. So once the order are completely assembled, a truck is assigned to the loading dock where they were assembled to receive the order. So a forklift will load the order in the truck from the assembly area. And on the right hand side, we have several parameters that can be changed. So the first one is initial utilization of storage. So here we put 0.2 in terms of the utilization, and the maximum amount is 1 while the minimum is 0. Number of pallets types, 1 to 16. Number of forklift, we can vary between 10 to 44. Number of unloading dock from 1 to 5, and number of loading dock from 1 to 7. So for the start, we just maintain what are the default parameter. And let's run the simulation to see what happened. As we can see, this is the 3D view of the simulation. And we can also drag the models in order for us to see from a different angle. In the middle of the warehouse is the loading dock, while the unloading dock is located on the right hand side of the warehouse. And we can change the view to 2D. So if, for example, we have a high computational equipment, so we can use 3D. Otherwise, we may just use 2D in order to monitor the simulation. And apart from that, we also have a statistical data that is run simultaneously. So this can be embedded into a simulation software so that we can ease the analysis process, stage. We don't need to analyze. We just program the simulation to calculate certain important performance measurement for us. For example, in this case, processing time, orders, utilization, and storage space. And then we can use the information generated and calculated automatically by the software. So we can see the statistics change dynamically based on what happened in the warehouse, based on the simulation. So that is the beauty of the Anylogic system, where we can tailor-make our own requirement and make sure that the system fully address what we need to achieve and what we need to see in order for us to make decision. Okay, this is one of the example for the discrete event system that is made available in the software. Okay, let us speed up the simulation in order for us to see what are the outcomes of the simulation. Okay, we can see after a certain period of time, the processing time and utilization has been saturated, where let's take the utilization for example. The forklift utilization reached 100%. Meanwhile, the loading dock, unloading and storage utilization maintained at 40% and 20% respectively. So in this case, we know, let's say as a manager, we know what are the bottleneck, the area or the equipment that are required for us to push the utilization and push the outputs. Okay, let's stop the simulation. If you need to see more example, you can just click to help and welcome page. So it will bring you to the getting started page, and you can just browse through the other examples so that you can learn on how to use the system better. Okay, for this, so for this session, you are going to learn on how to develop a model from scratch. Please refer to the file that has been uploaded in the ULearn. So the title of the file is Anylogic Lab Assignment 1 Job Shop. Okay, for this tutorial, it will show you on how to create an analogic model from scratch. So there are several phases of the tutorial, and the tutorial can be said as a straightforward, so don't worry if you are new to the software. Okay, so we start with phase 1, creating a simple model. So you may also find the layout in the ULearn. So please save the layout in your PC for you to use it later into the software. Okay, the first step is create a new model. So we go to the Anylogic file and we create a new model. So in the new model wizard, set the model name job shop and model time unit minutes. So we set the model time unit job shop, and because I already have a job shop here, I am going to use the model name job shop 1, and I am going to set the model time unit in minutes. Okay, and then you will be given this interface. Okay, among the most important menu that you need to know is located on the left hand side. So bring your cursor to the left hand side and you can see the menus appear. So it starts with the process modeling library, material handling library, pedestrian library, rail, road traffic, fluid system, agent, presentation, space markup analysis control, state chart, connectivity, pictures, and 3D objects. So all of the libraries have their own importance, and we are going to explore them based on our example today. Okay, so first we open the presentation palette. That is instruction number 2. So open the presentation palette. And we are going to have this sub menu. So we go to the image. On the presentation palette, select the image shape and then drag it on the main diagram. You can use the image shape to add image in several graphic format. Okay, we are going to drag this icon into our canvas, and then we are going to have and go to the layout that has been saved into your own computer. So open it. So if the layout is not centrally located, so you may adjust it so that it will be located in the center of the canvas. Okay, and then we proceed to next stage. So you will see the dialog box that prompt you to choose the image and so on. So you insert the image, select the image in graphical editor. In the properties view, select the lock checkbox to lock the image. Okay, this is advisable. So in the property view, I have a space limitation because I want to show the PDF as well. So here on the right hand side is the property for the image. So we go to the right hand side and we can see the lock. So we check the lock box in order for us to make it lock. So we cannot move it anymore. Right now we cannot move the image anymore. This is important because whenever we want to edit the component, if we don't lock the image, the layout might be moved as well. Okay, and then we go to the next element, the space markup element. So we have to see where is the space markup element. So don't worry if we don't remember the name yet. So we can just click on the left hand side and see on the pop-up menu where is the space markup element. So we can see here it is located down here, and based on the space markup menu, there are several icons we can choose. So open the space markup palette and drag the rectangular node element onto the main diagram. So we find the rectangular node. This is the rectangular node, and drag it to the main diagram. We put it here. And don't forget, this is number 7. Number 8, name the created node receiving dock. So the property, remember, will always be on the right hand side. So the name here, we put it as a receiving dog. Okay. So draw a note to define the location where the model's agent will park forklift truck once the truck are idle or the agent no longer need them to complete a task. So we need another node to park the forklift, idle forklift. So we use rectangular node as well and drag it, put it at the designated area shown in the example. And we name it as forklift parking. Okay, so that is how we complete the node. Okay, and then we move on. Do the following to draw a movement path that will guide our model forklift truck. In the space markup palette, double-click the path element to activate its drawing mode. So here we are still in the space palette, so we can see the path element. We need to double-click the path element, and it will change to a pencil icon. So click on the parking node. Sorry. Okay, we start from the saving dog, and then we go to the parking node. Okay, we have now completed step number 10. Okay, by default, paths are bi-directional, meaning it is a two-way. However, you can limit movement along a selected path to one direction by clearing the bi-directional properties. Properties will always be on the right-hand side. So in this case, we don't want to clear the property, so we maintain the properties. Okay, move on to number 11. Define your model's warehouse storage by dragging the pallet rack element from the space markup. Here, we are still in the space markup. We have a pallet rack element. So we drag the pallet rack element. So let's see where we are going to drag. Okay, we drag the pallet element to here. And we can see that there are several options for pallet rack. The first one rack, one aisle. Type number 2, one rack, two aisle. Type number 3, two racks, one aisle. So in this case, we remain one rack, one aisle. And during the runtime, the pallet rack element manage the agent that the model stores in the single level or multiple level that are available on side of the aisle. In the pallet rack properties, do the following. Okay, number 12 right now. So we need to update the pallet rack properties. Okay, click on the pallet rack first, and then the properties will appear. This is quite critical. If you click on the other elements, the properties for the other elements will appear. So if you want to change the pallet rack element, so click on the pallet rack element properties. So set type to two rack, one aisle. So we click to two rack, one aisles. Number of cell 10, heights level 10. So in the position and size, length 160. Okay, pick up from where we left. Okay, now we are going to the process modeling library. Process modeling library is located at the top of the menu, and we are going to create the sequence of process right now. Okay, so we start with source. So drag the source to the canvas and name the block source palette. So we click on the source, we name it as source palettes. Please be careful as there are no space in between of the properties name. So in the source palettes properties, do the following to ensure the model palettes arrive every 5 minutes and appear on the receiving dock nodes. So we need to do certain setting. So in the arrival defined by area, click inter arrival. So we click inter arrival time, and in the inter arrival time box we type 5 minutes. Okay, we as shown before, we can also use probability function. Okay, in the location of arrival, okay, the location of arrival, we click the network GIS node, and in the node we click receiving dock. We have already two rectangle nodes, so we choose receiving dock. Okay, you can see in the image as well. So how to refer to model element from block? There are some notes on that, and so we proceed with the next. So we drag the rack store from the process modeling. So we try to find where is the rack store. So normally it is arranged in a group. So whenever you have to find the rack, so basically it will be located within all of the other rack properties. So rack store, so careful, we choose rack store here, and when we put it beside the source palette, it will automatically create. If it is near enough, it will automatically create an arrow, connected arrow. So we put rack store, we maintain the name. Oh, sorry, we change the name to store raw material. So we change the name to store raw material. In the palette racks system, click the palette rack. So here we click the palette rack, and the agent location, we click the receiving dock to specify the location where agent waits to be stored. That is the location of the agent. Okay, next we add delay to simulate how pallets wait in the rack, and then name the block raw material in storage. Okay, try to find delay. And we name delay with this name, raw material in storage, to simulate the time span for the raw material to be in the storage. Okay, okay, you probably noticed that Anylogic automatically connect the blocks and so on. Okay, we have talked about this. Okay, in the raw material and storage block properties, in the delay time, we type like triangular 20, 15, 20, and 30. Triangular 15, 20, 30, and select minutes. We select minutes. Select the maximum capacity checkbox to ensure agent will not get stuck as they wait to pick up from storage. So we check the maximum capacity. So add raw pick block, rack pick, sorry. So rack is probably at the bottom, rack pick. We have rack store, and then we simulate the time in the system, and then it will go to pick the rack. So for rack pick, in the properties area, we click the pallet rack and select the pallet rack. In the node list, click the forklift parking to specify where the agent should park forklift truck. Okay. And then we add sync block. So the sync dispose agent and is usually represent the flowchart's end of point. So we end the sequence with sync. Okay, so now we have complete a simple simulation, and we try to run the model. Okay, this is the simple simulation model that we have developed. So we can see that there are also a simple sequence with the dynamic values represent the total numbers of the item process. So congratulations to all for being able to reach the first phase. You have completed the first phase of the simulation. Okay, this is the error if you have any error. Okay, now for the second phase, I would like you to do it by yourself. Try to explore the software as much as possible. You are going to use it. It may be beneficial for you in the future, and the simulation files as well as a report. I want you to create a report for the simulation and send it through ULearn. Okay, I will put the instruction in the ULearn on the report format as well as the simulation file. So please take your time, use So please use the time today for you to create and to complete the simulation. We will learn on the theoretical parts on Thursday. So thank you very much. See you in the next class. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning.